And now I have the pleasure of introducing our Boots to Heels program director at Attitudes and Attire, Brandy Baxter, who is an Air Force veteran.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my privilege and honor to introduce two women who represent the thousands of women who have come through the doors at Attitudes and Attire. Casey Clausen successfully completed our core program and our Hopeful Smiles program. Trellis is an Army veteran, and she also completed our Boots to Heels program. Both ladies will tell you a little about themselves and what Attitudes and Attire means to them. Without further ado, Casey Clausen and Trellis Marr.
Wow. Hi, my name is Casey, and I'm 43 years old, and thanks to Attitudes and Attire, I think I'm a pretty amazing person. But I didn't always think that way about myself. See, I was in a marriage for 18 years that was mentally and physically abusive. We were addicted to drugs. I was miserable. I hated him. I hated my life. You know, and by the grace of God, I got a blessing come to me. September 27, 2003, I found out I was pregnant. And it's a blessing to me because I wasn't supposed to be able to have children. Things started changing for me then. I quit drugs cold turkey, going on 13 years clean. Thank y'all very much. I stayed in my marriage for 6 more years, hoping that our beautiful little girl would change him too. But I saw the abuse that I was going through affect my daughter. So I gathered what I could, and I grabbed my daughter and I left. I was so busy being a single mom, being a taxi driver, nurse, counselor, everything that goes along with being a single mom, that I didn't even think about me or me time. Single time? Who ever thought about a single mom having me time? And so that's when my next blessing came, was Attitudes and Attire. They taught me about me time, to look in that mirror and love the person you see, and do self-positive talk no matter how you feel. And that I passed on to my beautiful daughter. And then the Hopeful Smiles program. When I started losing my teeth because of the drugs and the abuse that I endured, I was so self-conscious about it. And Tiffany and Dr. Bainbridge, my dentist, oh my gosh, they were so amazing. I'm so glad for Dr. Bainbridge. My first visit I went there, my whole chair was shaking. And they asked me if I needed a blanket. I said, no, I'm nervous. And I was just there for a cleaning. And my second visit, they greeted me by my name. You know, my name. My doctor's office don't even do that, you know? And they greeted me, and they didn't make me feel like a welfare case to them, you know? And that made me feel special. I'm so glad and so blessed to be one of the 20,000 women that Attitudes and Attire helped. I take what they've taught me, and I pass it on to everyone I see, and I give it to my daughter. And I see her passing it on to her friends. My world is changing now since I've got this new positive attitude that I've got. When I first came here, I was a size 24, pushing 300 pounds. And now I'm going into size 14, 16s. Thank you. I'm proud of that. I may not be a size 6, but hey, I can still rock this body, you know. And I'm here to let you know that no matter what size you are or what you look like, you are beautiful. No matter what anybody else tells you, as long as you are happy with what you see in the mirror, that's what counts. And I know somebody told me one time that if you don't like yourself, then how do you expect anybody else to like you? And now I am my #1 fan, and that's the way it should be. I look in the mirror and I don't see the old me, I see the new me. Because I don't want to be the person I used to be. And I love the way I am now. And now I can say I am proof that there is life beyond drugs and there is life beyond the abuse. And that you can do it on your own. A lot of women think that, they can't make it. I'm proof of that. And I show my daughter that I didn't have to endure that abuse that I did just to be with him. That I'm making it on my own with her. And she pushes me along. But I'd like to thank Attitudes and Attire for my new attire, of course. And my new attitude I have that I pass on. And the Hopeful Smiles program, this beautiful smile I have now, that I'm still rocking it. And I would like to thank you all very much for coming and listening to my story. Thank y'all.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Trellis, and it's an honor to speak to the people who have made a great program like Attitudes and Attire possible. They've helped hundreds of women in this area, and I'm one of them. And I'd like to share my story with you. As a 12-year veteran of the United States Army, I never envisioned a future where I would not be self-sufficient. Because in the Army, I was a super soldier. My uniform was highly starched. My boots always had a glass shine, and I was ready to be tactically and technically proficient, which is a key term in the military. And that's who I was. But I had a really bad experience happen to me in the Army, but we didn't talk about it back then. And now we're starting to talk about it more, and that's military sexual trauma. And it stole from me one of my precious talents, which was self-confidence. And I started changing. I started closing up, and my world started getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I couldn't find security. So I started looking for security in a man. Don't we women do that? But when we're looking for somebody and it's not who God had intended it for us, it never works out. So that security I was looking for, I didn't find. Instead, I found myself in a marriage that was marred with domestic violence. And it was pretty bad. I had 5 children, and they were like boom, 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 little pad, little gap, boom, boom. And, I was frankly frightened to leave. Me, super soldier, me, Miss Uber Confidence, me, a non-commissioned officer, stuck in a situation that was beyond my control. But one day I had a wake-up call. My husband threw me through the drywall of our house and began choking me to the point that I passed out. When I regained consciousness, that's all I needed to finally wake up and decide, it's time for me to make a change. It's time for me to take charge again. So I left with my 5 children in tow and just what I had on my back. And I wish I could tell you it was an easy transition and that everything went hunky-dory, but it didn't. We ended up being homeless because I didn't have money. I couldn't go to my job because he was stalking me there. And my whole life turned upside down. We ended up having to go to a homeless shelter. And I'm gonna tell you, probably the most horrifying night of my life was that first night that I laid my head down on the pillow after my children went to sleep, in a room with strangers, feeling totally hopeless. But I decided right then and there that that would not be the end of my story. That was not what was going to define my life. That I wanted so much more out of life, and I was going to get it. So I started seeking out opportunities. I started talking to people. I started networking. And God delivered some amazing people in my life. I ended up coming to Attitudes and Attire because I was looking for a job at the Texas Workforce Commission. And they had veteran counselors there, and they say, you need to go check out this program, Attitudes and Attire. And I'm thinking, oh, not another workshop. But it was so much more than just a workshop. I came in the room and I was a little apprehensive, but the women immediately began to love on me. They gave me a Coke, gave me coffee. If you give me coffee, you're my best friend. And they just started talking to me. And as we sat there, just a group of women sharing our stories, I found out that I wasn't the only one going through this. And you'd be surprised at the number of tough, rugged women who go through the situation that I went through and find their lives totally flipped upside down. What I left with was a clear goal for my life, a plan on how to get there, and community referrals. I went back to college, and I have 3 proud announcements to make to you guys today. Number 1, I graduated with honors from the nursing program. Number 2, I passed my state boards, and I'm now a registered nurse in the state of Texas. And number 3, I am now in the latest addition to Select Specialties Business Development Team as their payer resource person. So I'm gonna get to use my clinical skills to help them develop their program. And I am so proud of this opportunity. But what I wanna tell you guys is I could not have done this without the supportive care that I received from people just like you. People who cared, people who didn't just hide in their closets and say, you know, well, that doesn't really affect me, but said, I care about these women. I care about these soldiers. I care about those who live in my community. And you funded programs that not only help women, you know, learn how to do a resume, not only learn how to network, but to give them their self-confidence back, to clothe them in wonderful outfits so they can hold their heads up high and say, I'm ready to capture this life again. So please, as General Akins said, please continue to contribute to this program and others in your community. Please, let's close the gap, because it is a tremendous gap. I was really shocked when I left, and my children and I first ended up in South Dallas, and they didn't have enough books for my kids in the school, so the teacher was copying pages. I couldn't stay in South Dallas. I didn't know how I was gonna live in 75093, but I got there. I got there, and my boys got full scholarships to Prestonwood Christian Academy, and they graduated with honors. I have 5 children. My oldest son is in Colorado, and he works for the prison system. He's on the rapid response team, so he's like the G.I. Joe of the prison system. When something goes down, watch out, here comes 6'4" Kali'i. My second son was the chief of staff for Senator Brian Kelsey out of Tennessee. My daughter Candace works 2 jobs because, you know, if you didn't go to college, you can't make it on one job. Minimum wage does not cut it, and we have to fix the minimum wage gap. She's working 2 full-time jobs to support her 4-year-old son, my wonderful grandson. And then I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old at home. My 16-year-old just got nominated to the Congress of Future Medical Leaders and received a scholarship for the tuition, and she's actively fundraising to raise the money for the flight in the hotel while she's there. And my 14-year-old's an honor student as well. And, you know, that opportunity came because we found the right zip code. Because even though I had no place to lay my head, I wasn't going to give my kids less. I wanted them to have an equal opportunity. And I am where I'm at because of people that care and love other people and are not ashamed to say, come here, baby, let me talk to you. Tell me what's going on. Let me listen to your story and find ways to help you. Thank you so much.